Alright, hello again YouTube. Welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program. Now, we have been working on the final goal for our for this playthrough, which has been the colony ship. Send our big old colony out to Eeloo with some big baselanders. Now, ultimately, I could not find a good way to launch the entire ship in one go. I just couldn't find a configuration that worked that would have any structural strength to it to withstand takeoff. But I have tried splitting the ship in half. I've taken off the boosters, which are the majority of the weight. The top of the rocket is only like 30 tons. Well, the top of the ship is only like 30 tons. The bottom section of the rocket is like 600. So I've taken off the boosters. Fitted a little fuel tank assembly. This, in theory, is launchable, maybe, if it doesn't pivot over from the aerodynamics. I've added extended docking features onto the bottom section. I just realised I need to actually set the crew up properly for this ship. I have no idea who's going to be on board. I have given the booster rocket the ability to be manually or AI controlled. The main booster can now launch itself to some degree. We might even try just launching it with its own engines. But I will double check maybe the delta V values and see what it looks like we'll have. But if it looks doable, the booster section might even be able to launch itself, and we could potentially even just refuel it in space if needed. But yeah, this is already a lot more stable. So let's try this for a launch. So, core module going up. Well, I think we could actually leave the crew on board. I think it's basically everybody, because we can always add drone cores to the other modules of the ship and have them launch up under AI control and then just dock together manually. We are going to want every Kerbal we have available after all anyway for this ship. So, launching in 3, 2, 1, liftoff. I know what I did forget again, and I'm going to actually quickly go back to launch and add these. I forgot Separatrons. I forgot that the previous issue we had with the last ship was that once it got to orbit, it had to ditch the boosters that got it there, and we forgot that, and they were hanging around in a big cloud near it in orbit, which is not really where you want stuff when you're trying to come into dock. Realistically, the chances that we don't hit any of them, we either just miss them by miles, or even if we do get to hit one, we probably clip through it. But just in case. Right, let's try this again. It looked like it was pretty good in the brief few seconds we got of it lifting off, but who knows what it'll do when it gets to the turn. I'm trying not to skip too much of the design stuff, but I also don't want people to be waiting around for ages while I work out awkward bits. And it actually didn't take too long to design that, but the booster for the other engine, we do give it its own booster, is going to be interesting. Because the thing is, it is more than powerful enough to take off on its own, but I don't know how well those radiators work in atmosphere. I also don't know about launching those radiators, because they're big and fragile, but I guess we'll just have to see on that one. Right. Going to autopilot again. Right, 3, 2, 1, go. Looks nice and steady. We do fire both engines at once on this stage. Well, this ship, I should say. This is the scary bit, because this thing is wider at the top than it is at the bottom. I suppose it is technically aerodynamic in a sense, in that the top is literally a half sphere. These, however, not so much. Probably should have put this on the craft upside down if I'd really thought about it, actually. Considering they've got curved edges on the bottom. No, okay. Larger fins are required. This launch, and I'll flip that centrifuge upside down for the sake of stability. I have a feeling launching this is going to be a bit of a trick. So, for the sake of aerodynamics, it's slightly better that way up. Additionally, what's the other bit? We needed fins. To add some very large... We don't have very large fins. I forgot. We've never invested into any plane research, so we don't have them. What we'll instead do is an extra set of fins there and there. And hope that's enough with the better aerodynamics, maybe? Let's try it. If this doesn't work, it might be a case of pausing again and working out something else. It might even be that we have to launch the girder truss up separately. Ideally, I really don't want to be doing a separate launch for that bit, but because it is so long and makes the form awkward, it could be that if we cut that piece out, attach it independently, but I don't want to be adding all the weight of extra tanks and things, because I've had to add some more ion thrusters to the engine segment. I think I am going to try and use these Argon RCS for the ship, because we don't need very much. Even if they are quite weak, they're still only about a quarter of the power of a normal RCS, which is actually not too bad, really, considering they're ion thrusters. That's actually quite good. So, 3, 2, 1, launch. Can auto warp if you need to. I really don't know if those small fins will be enough, but it's worth a shot. We might even be able to tweak MechJeb's launch profile so that it doesn't turn until higher up, but yeah, we'll see. We have improved the balance or the aerodynamics a bit. Once we're out of atmosphere, it shouldn't be so much of a problem anyway. Wow, look at the graphics. You can see the girder frame disappearing in the distance. That's interesting. Of course, we do need to design our colony modules still. I'm going to be designing them each with a 75-ton weight limit because I tested this thing with a 300-ton ballast. So they're all going to have to be about the same weight. Probably I'll try and design a unique sort of lander end for each one of them and then put, like, customize the middle section, maybe? That sounds like a good idea to me, at least. Maybe a big cargo bay and put different components inside each one. I'll maybe look into that. Seems like the way to do it to me. I'm glad this glass is apparently resistant to re-entry flame on the way up. Oh, right. Yes, this is something I hadn't thought of. I guess we'll launch it to more than 100. 150 then. Okay. Wait for it to drift to the edge of the atmosphere and then we can start deploying solar panels and things. Unfortunately, our RCS is currently useless because the actual fuel tanks are not on this module. I believe once unfurled we can't refill these, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Okay, we need three. Oh, we need 3 engineers on board. Yeah, we might even need another engineer recruited anyway. So yeah, we will have to recruit some extra crew. Yeah, we're going to have to. I think we need 2 more engineers on board at least. So we'll send them up with one of the modules. Centrifuge is going to have to stay undeployed at the moment. And turn the ship's lights on. A decent amount of electricity on board, nowhere near as much as the thing will provide, but as the what do I mean by the thing? As the engines will provide, but good amount for now. I like that sort of spiral of presumably fuel piping in there for all the different engines. It should be moving to circular horizon in a moment. Or is it? Yeah, one of these things where you have to give Mech a bit of a kick and tell it, hey, you can go. Do the thing. Yeah, the moment it kicks in anyway, there's enough gimbal on the engine that it moves to the right direction anyway. And we are good. Nearly. Get that a little bit nice and neat. Okay, that'll be enough. That'll be close enough. Right. We're good to go. One last thing to do. Goodbye, boosters. So, first part of the Eeloo colony up. I Surprised we got this far, but I am happy about it. The ship is really, literally starting to come together now. Visual observation, I think we can transfer that back. No, we can't. There's no one on board. I guess they're all on board. Yeah, I think they're all on there, and no one's on the Mercury. Yeah, how many crew have we got in the end? Jeb, Bill, Val, that's 3. 5 crew on board so far. Yeah, this wasn't even at max crew. This could have brought more people up. That's fine. So, okay, we'll have smart ASS keepers prograde. For now, while we return to the Space Center and start working out what our best bet for lifting the main boosters is. Again, I'm really thinking... I'll cut the recording quickly and go find that Delta V chart. I've forgotten to open that. I'll go check that DV chart and see if see what sort of fuel requirements we're looking for to get to Eeloo. If they're not too bad, then it really might be easiest to just let the booster launch itself. And just use its main fuel. Because it is a very powerful set of engines. It's already actually got a pretty decent thruster weight and everything. Maybe put a nose cone on it for the aerodynamics. So we don't waste extra fuel on the way up, but that might be all we need, really. Just temporary nose cone with a separator and boosters to kick it off. Right, I'll pause recording quickly. I'll be back in a sec. Alright, so I checked. If anything, given that the landers are going to be their own vehicles, we're probably drastically overbuilt for this mission as a whole. We're probably going to be enormously overbuilt and have no problems whatsoever with Delta V. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to let this engine launch itself. You see, we've already got a thruster-weight ratio of over 2 anyway, so we're not exactly in a bad stead. We'll just put a nose cone on it with some separators and just use those as an extra little boost to our aerodynamics, or improvement to our aerodynamics. So it's there, and that at the bottom. Put those in the same stage. Yep, so I might just rotate that around so it's not on top of the thrusters, just in case they turn out to be quite fragile. Oh, do I mean to recolor that? Oh, no, you can't. It's just those bits. Right. Yeah, by the way, this is the engines separated. Yeah, there's not much to them. I did add some extra solar panels because I realized it was going to have to be able to maneuver on its own. And, of course, the ever-reliable... I've forgotten to put one of the antennas on it. But the ever-reliable cube core. This is what launched one of our other boosters before. And seeing as it seemed to work, just sort of bolted the cube onto the side. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it again. We'll add a extra antenna onto it, so it can talk all the way up, and then it can extend its range once it's in space. We also need to launch to 150. I need to not forget that. And we'll launch to rendezvous. But yeah, in theory, this should be very easy. In fact, it should be an extremely easy launch using its own power. I'm actually surprised I didn't just think of that in the first place. I think we did consider launching the whole thing in one go under its own power, but I think that would have... I think the fuel would still be okay anyway, but just in case. And also would have had the issue of the length. I think that's the main thing. The other part of the craft was not too heavy. It was just weirdly balanced. And again, it didn't help that we had the aerodynamics completely wrong because we had the centrifuge the wrong way up. So I don't believe this could bring up any crew. There might be space in that little middle segment. Right, where is actually our ship? Eeloo Colony Core. There we go. Let's hide the debris for now. Auto stage off for now, actually. We don't want auto stage on, because we don't want to lose parts. Or we don't want to ditch the nose until we're actually ready. Now, the only thing that worries me a little bit is these radiators. How launch is going to go with them. I'll just keep an eye on them and check we don't break them or anything. But hopefully we won't. Oh, I'll tell you what, though. They aren't running. Or are they? Okay, that is one thing we will need to change quickly. The vehicle assembly. I need to put them all in an action group so I can activate them straight away. Because the engines do get very hot. It will absolutely overheat if I don't. Action groups. Action group 1, like we did before. Toggle the radiators. This is like the previous, the Dual Grand Tour ship. Had this... But I believe we set them up midway because I didn't think of it early on, and I'm glad I did. My god, it would have been slow manually clicking them all for the entire mission because we had to open and deploy them so often. But hopefully, as a whole, we've learned from the previous mission and we won't make some of the same mistakes again. Things like having the RTGs for one thing. Well, that wasn't so much a mistake as not available. However, I will have to pause recording there, so I will catch up with you guys in the launch in a moment. Or, alternately, you could apparently press the wrong button and crash the game. I'm not sure what happened, but the game crashed, and then lunch happened anyway, so either way. Right. We are launching to rendezvous. Engage autopilot. Theory, everything else about this rocket is working okay. Oh, I have action grouped the radiators. They are now active. I just have to keep an eye on them and make sure they don't snap during takeoff. I haven't a clue how you would launch graphite fins that size on a real rocket. I guess you'd probably try and build them in space if you could help it. You might notice, getting spicy. This is to be expected. Oh, that's a nice looking glow. Look at that. I think the entire launch pad has just been forever irradiated. But oh well. We'll live. Definitely getting hot. We are using quite a bit of electric charge. Shed all the heat. I guess these engines don't have afterburners in them. Still, the radiators don't seem to have snapped or anything, and they are running at full efficiency. Excuse me? What just exploded? I didn't... Hello? Is the ship okay? I just saw something explode, but I didn't see what. Have we still got all four docking... We've still got all four docking thrusters. Oh, was it the antenna? No, we've still got that. What just exploded? I didn't even see what it was. I don't know whether I should be worried or not. Something definitely just blew up, but... I think there's like a strut. We still seem to have all 7 engines. I have no idea what just blew up. It's retracted. Yeah, they're retracted, not broken. We've still got all the antennas. We've still got... all docking thrusters. Yeah, I guess just the explosion just happened. Did I... I couldn't tell you what broke. Okay. Go figure. Getting hot again. Starting to look a bit thinner now and nearly out the atmosphere. It's nice that the edges can just launch themselves though. I'm doing quite a long burn though. Because our 3 thrust to weight's not enormous. 2's pretty high, but it isn't dropping anything like as quick as it would on some other rockets. I like how we're cooling at less power now, despite the flames that we were when we took off. Barely any higher on the front. So I know radiators are effective, but I'm not quite sure that's how they work. I wonder if they're getting a bit of a lift effect. I wonder if they're aerodynamic. They're surprisingly strong. They're standing up to this punishment, no problem. I suppose graphite is quite a strong material, but even still. Graphene or whatever. Yeah, graphene. Yeah, I suppose graphene is actually a really strong material, but I'm still impressed by that, I have to admit. But I'm not going to complain. It did work after all. Hopefully we'll have launched straight to rendezvous. Alright, we're not outside the atmosphere yet, so I won't deploy the panels just yet. Nose cone has gotten spicy. We'll ditch that in a minute when we can. Yeah, basically as soon as it hits the edge of the atmosphere, it'll probably start to turn anyway, so we'll just ditch it immediately and then that should... I'll do it now. There we go. Don't need that anymore. It's a fairly large solar panel, shall we say? Yeah, electric charge is refilling, even though the radiators are still running. Right. They aren't tremendously powerful thrusters. By that I mean, they're apparently somehow turning negatively to the way they're actually pointing us. Oh, no, we're not. No, I guess it is going in the right direction. Yeah, they're not using much, actually. The tanks hold quite a lot. Oh, wow, we're basically using nothing. I'm impressed. Again, their performance is not particularly high either, but hey-ho. They're going the way we want them to. I don't know that we have much other torque on board this ship, so we are a bit reliant on them. Loop temperature, 1600 Kelvin. Don't know if that's a lot or not. Or none, apparently. I like how it kind of looks like we're rotating around the panels. Because of how slow it is, we're rotating slower than the panels can pivot. It's kind of fun. Yeah, now where is the ship compared to where we are? A little ways off. Okay, I don't think we're going to hit it directly, but... Yeah, the only thing might be docking. It might be... Oh, no, we can't. I was going to say, we might be safer docking the other ship to this one, but actually we can't. Yeah, I might have to be a little bit careful during docking. Might have to get it to do some stuff a little differently, but we'll see how it goes. As we can see, it's not fast to react. Also unusual how it seems to be spinning in the exact opposite direction of the way it's trying to. Hang on. Yep, I think we call that total thruster power level feeble. Probably too feeble for the size of ship we've got, which is quite substantial. Might have to make adequate, frequent use of the what do you call it? Frequent use of the cheating to skip time warp thing we can do by accelerating time. Actually, I am starting to get worried now. These are actually starting to make me think that they might be too feeble. I tell you what, I'm going to revert to hangar. I like the idea of using these because they're so fuel efficient. But I am worried they won't actually have enough power to turn us around in time. Yeah, I'm gonna revert to flight. I'll cut the recording to when we're back up in orbit at about this point. And I'll replace them with conventional RCS because I think it's going to be too slow. Back in a moment. And we're back again. You might notice ring of monopropellant tanks. And yeah, I made some custom thruster blocks basically, so we'd have plenty of power when we're doing our various maneuvers. Although I have realised our power to strafe might be a little bit misbalanced, but yes, also got some doubled up blocks on these ones, so we should have quite a significant amount more power, maybe 8 or more times more power, but we do have a lot less fuel, so we're going to have to be careful about how we use our monopropellant, but we don't need too much of it. We're only doing one trip effectively. It's not like the dual Grand Tour. We actually used probably quite a fair bit, and indeed needed to refuel it midway several times. But yes, apart from that, same rocket. Basically, I haven't had to change anything else. I took off the tanks. It will mean we have some non-functional thrusters on the top section, but we'll just have to rely on this section swinging it around. We should also have some torque from the base modules, so we'll need to make sure to put some reaction wheels in. I think that's part of the problem we have here, is that we don't have reaction wheels. If we did, they could have compensated for a lot of the weak thrust, but we'll make sure to account for that with the base modules. Put some gyroscopes on them. fix the atmosphere. We'll turn on the RCS and let it test the thing. Test the thrusters. Yeah, I think the problem is we don't actually have any torque on board the ship, or we do, but it's minuscule because it's just the amount coming from the little box cube core, and obviously that's tiny. It's nowhere near big enough to move a 600-ton ship. Because this is heavy. This is abnormally heavy for Kerbal to be something you're launching on your bottom as a top stage. In fact, that'd be a lot for real life. Quite a lot. Yeah, that seemed to be able to turn us around quite quickly. Just a little extra weight. Yeah, and already things were drifting in the right way and it stopped firing them. Yeah, so it only took us about 30 to get ourselves turning around the right way with this one. Yeah, I'm confident enough this will be able to actually make the docking maneuver. I was a little unsure with the other one. But we will do the thing that makes it easier with this one. We'll have the other ship face us. That'll make docking a lot easier. Heading round. Ooh, a little lag. As I say, I think they've got, yeah, I was going to say nuclear warnings on these engines, which is perfectly acceptable. They are very nuclear. I was going to say I'm a bit surprised by all the weight, but I suppose probably it's because I don't know whether these are shielding, but they've certainly got to have a lot of irradiated water on board, so it's certainly heavy at any rate. Yeah, it's not quick to turn though. You're going to have to be a little bit careful with the rendezvous autopilot to make sure we don't overshoot. But the engines do pack a mighty kick, so we do have that going for us. Okay, the thruster's working as well. Save. Yeah, at least here we're generating loads of power. I don't know how effective those solar panels are going to be at Eeloo. So, and how well the radiators are going to work for that matter, but we'll have to hope for the best with that one. We'll hope that we've at least got enough charge stored to make the full burn at any rate. Definitely looks hot. Look at those engines winding down. That looks great. I really do like that effect. So I'm rather a fan of these engines. I remember using these before and being sort of just like, oh, thank God, it's everything I need. It's got good thrust, it controls sensibly, and good efficiency. Like, yeah, I remember the autopilot now. Planes. Slowly rotate. What I'll do, since again you've seen docking maneuvers on this playthrough before, I'll skip until we're about to dock with the other ship, and then we'll get it docked and we'll call that episode there. I think we had a good bit of progress, and then we get to design the first of our colony modules. And again, what I'm thinking is I'll maybe try and make them somewhat modular. I'll design like a generic like colony lander like shell with I think like a big cargo bay in the middle, as long as we've got one available, and then we'll like build our colony modules inside it. So yeah, back in a moment. Alright, quick update. I wanted to see if it was possible, because MechJeb did something weird and screwed up the burn. I don't know why, but it suddenly decided, oh, I'm going to burn in the wrong direction, and it screwed up the maneuver. But apparently, you could tell MechJeb to, well, basically, you could tell it to do just individual parts of the docking plan without having to do the whole thing. So I've actually told it to just do a home and transfer early. And yeah, apparently we should intercept. We're 3 kilometers off, but that should be okay, I think. So yeah, I'm going to try a little bit of fiddling about manual docking. I've never really looked at the rendezvous planner before. But in some ways this might be better, because we definitely had points where I'm just like, yeah, if we just did like that one part and skip the rest. You know, establish a new orbit at like, what, however much higher, that's cool. But like, if we're already higher than it, we don't need to do that. The only reason we're doing that is so we can slow down and, or speed up relative to it and then intercept it at some point. So we'll try that. Then when we're near it, we'll do the, I think get closer? I think that's right. Anyway, we'll give it a try. The only thing is we have missed the burn. And if I do removal modes, if I do... Oh, let's go skip ahead now. That's better anyway. Yeah, so... What is this? No, smart RCS? Oh, cool. Don't know how that works, but I assume that's good. Yeah, there are a few bits of make dev that I never really used before, so... I'm still discovering firsts, apparently, on this playthrough, even now. We're definitely reliant on mono propellant, so I want to get this done before too long, because we are going to start to run dry eventually. But we're still pretty good for now. As long as it doesn't spend too long bumbling around with useless manoeuvres, we should be okay. I have a feeling I'm going to want to forward plan a bit on some of the manoeuvres around Eeloo, considering we're going to have another 300 tons on top of this thing. We're going to have almost a 1,000-ton craft. Whoa, whoa, off. We try and maneuver to that without node. Do we actually have to talk to do it? Not at all. Right, okay. Why are you going that way? You're going the wrong way. Oh, no, you're not. Okay. Problem is, this maneuver is fine enough that we're, basically messing it up by trying to make it. Oh, boy. Hang on. I'll do some fiddling. I'll do some fiddling off screen, and we'll see what we can do, and I'll catch up to you if I finally manage to encounter this thing. Alright, and we're here. It was not too bad, actually. Aside from the slight problems we've had with the, just getting rotated to face it in general, we managed to reach it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little RCS burn, get us up to a little bit of speed towards the target, and then we'll turn around. I'm also going to tell this bit to do a control from here. Yeah. And do a target plus false roll 0. Should make that ship turn to face towards us. While ours does the same thing. What else if you do? Once we're facing it, I'll just burn towards it a little bit with the RCS and we'll just drift towards it. We might even manage a docking port like that, but I suspect we're not going to. Yep, yeah, we're drifting away. We might even need a small engine burn to get it closer before we drift away, but I don't want to go too hard because we'll, well, we'd explode if we smash into it too hard, obviously, or if we overshoot, it's going to be a right pain to slow down because the engines are so powerful compared to, well, they just are generally very powerful. Yeah, I guess let's say the engines are powerful compared to our ability to turn around and point them where we want them, so, yeah. hit F5 to enable to do a quick save, and then as we drift towards this thing, to try. That's facing the wrong way. I think I need to do a target minus. Yeah, target minus. Okay. We've got to try and target that docking port. Assuming we can do that, we can. No, it doesn't need to know which way. This is the face. Okay, hang on. Just kill rotation. Relative velocity minus. Should face us sort of that way, and then we can use that to slide ourselves down and bring ourselves closer. That should allow us to stop our sort of horizontal drift relative to it and then get ourselves a bit closer to it. But we could probably just do this actually and just be a little bit careful because that's increasing our horizontal speed, but right, yeah, we've got it selected. We just need to actually get a bit closer to it so we can actually click on it. Yeah, with a small amount of thrust we can turn around much quicker. Manually firing our upwards facing thrusters to try and knock us down and get us... Basically, as long as we can get it to the point where we can then use the docking autopilot, that can take over and do the rest, but... A quick save again, and I do enable autopilot. Is that still going to get us closer? As long as it can get us closer, theoretically we can use that to drift into a distance where we can then target the actual docking port itself. It's worth a shot. Apologies for this one being a bit jankier than normal, but we are shifting something much heavier than I normally move. I haven't done a docking maneuver like this in a long old while. Hopefully this episode won't run on crazy long again. As you might have seen, one of our most recent ones had to be cut into many pieces to... I don't know quite how many just yet because I haven't finished editing it down, but definitely had to be cut up into a few pieces to make it all work. Oh, I think we're actually drifting in the right direction. It's just spinning us around now. I know the burns, we've got a lot of our mono propellant doing this, but thankfully the other colony modules are going to be quite a lot lighter. But MagJeb, this is the one point where you could be using left and turning slower. I guess the idea is it's also pushing us at this point. Yeah, now we probably wouldn't have a fuel shortage if we had the xenon thrusters, but just imagine how slowly we'd been moving. My god, or argon thrusters, whatever they were, the ion thrusters anyway. Yes, MechJeb has definitely been being weirder over some of our last few manoeuvres. I'm not quite sure what's up with it, but... whereas in this case it might be that we, Okay, target plus. Okay, that is turning it around. But not to face us, seemingly. What is wrong with this thing? Is it that it can't do it while we're too... oh, is it that it can't do it while we're far away? Is that what it is? Oh, it's turning now. Right, I believe we can target individual components. Yeah. Target plus. Get the two to face each other. They are trying to do it. Good, okay. Yeah, I think it's just a case of maybe we couldn't use the turnaround thing while we were that far off. You had to wait until it got closer before MechJeb, I guess, can kick back in again and start taking command. Ah, we're already drifting away. It definitely does need to rotate more. This is proving a pain. What we can do is reset the rotation by pausing, but it was a little cheaty when we're this close. There we go. Though we might have to, given that we're running out of fuel. Try and give it a bit of a kick from the engines to get us a bit closer, but it may have been a mistake. But this will keep facing us, so if we can get close enough, the two will actually dock together. Otherwise we can do that before we run out of RCS, otherwise I'll have to reset, but at least this time we can adjust more easily because we know what went wrong with it. It's because it's trying to find the entry point, it's never going to reach it. Yeah, I need the two to get closer. Yeah, we're going to have to reload. We're going to run out of fuel. Let's try that again. But this time we'll remotely go out to the other one, face it towards us, and then get us closer. Yeah, it's just because of the sheer weight of this thing that's making it really awkward. It's hoping to be docked by now, but I very much found with these last few missions in general that nothing goes as simply as you'd like. Right. So, control from here. Target plus. Or at least target nearly plus and then kill rotation to make it easier to dock with. That might be the other thing we were doing, continually turning when it should have been staying still. So, Turn to face it, then we'll kill rotation. Once through there. Should make it much easier to dock with. Hey, heat haze, there's some weirdness going on there. I had to face it. There's probably a case of we should have just done this right from the start, but again, I didn't know, so it's a pain though. We will enable force roll. There is some extra monopropellant on board the other ship, so we'll get a bit of a refill. We shouldn't need too much because we'll have the other ships do their own docking. This ship might well be more cumbersome than the other one, but in fact we know it is. I think it's already heavier. But hopefully we can deal with it okay. We'll make sure to put plenty of torque on the other ships, on the other vehicles, so we don't have to rely so much on the RCS. This one we're just rotating anyway. So get us to a point where we're actually moving closer to this thing, please. You know, turn off the docking autopilot for a moment. Just get us a little bit forwards. It's probably too much thrust, if anything, but let's get it so we can get in range and actually target the docking port. That'd be the main thing. Time off a little bit while we get closer. In, get there about 200. We want to do it as soon as possible because it's going to be tight, because we know how sluggish this thing is now for real. Okay, I think we're finally moving into place now. I can see the axis errors, they're reducing gradually, we're getting there. It's overshot on some of them clearly. Distance to docking axis is reducing, so we're moving in the right direction. Oh yeah. Gimbal? Just a 20% gimbal, all of these, because we know what the wobble does to our big ships. Okay, it causes wiggle and shakes the whole craft about, which is not good when you're trying to do fine-tuning. We are apparently now moving further away. I'm sorry? Right, I'll trust you with this, Mac Jeb, but we are going to have to go forwards at some point. By I trust you with it, I mean I'm going to give you a bit of a kick and get you closer. I think our speeds aren't quite ideal. I think that's why we're having a bit of drift. I need to be moving towards it. Yeah, I think our orbits don't quite match, so they're drifting apart a tiny bit. Here's where we potentially have to take a tiny bit of manual control. Don't worry about the roll, just get us closer. Running out of RCS again, so I need to get us closer before we do. Just keep us pointed at the target. It's a bit faster than you normally dock, but so long as we hit it, it ought to be okay. They're not quite aligned right, but again, that's fine. But can you... You could do force roll to 0. Oh, it already is. Hey, maybe we are aligned right. Oh yeah, of course we are, yeah, because these are offset. Okay. Still approaching. Looks reasonably good in terms of being lined up. Like I say, sometimes MacDeb is an amazing piece of kit. Sometimes it's complete garbage that will not listen to you, and I do not know why. Or at least won't do what you want it to. Again, burning the wrong way on a maneuver node. That's not even the first time it's done it in this playthrough, and I have no idea why. I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know if the game's just been running for too long in terms of like the save file. I do not know. But anyway, we're almost there. Break a little bit. I hope the crew on board the other section are prepared for the bump. Might need to be a 1 meter a second bump, although that's a hell of a lot in real life, but not much in Kerbal. But this is 600 tons coming in for a 1 meter per second bump. And connection, hopefully, if this works as intended. Reverse, full reverse. And lag spike. And that's good, because that means we are connected. Hooray! Man, that was trickier than expected. Huzzah, the ship is now in one piece. As it was always intended to be. And we've gained an extra, like, 100 monopropellant. Alright, how long does it take to point prograde? Now that we have torque attached. If I... Starting from scratch, how long does it take to accelerate and point this prograde? That's not so bad. Oh, if I'm actually controlling from a forwards facing path, of course. Yeah, the answer is a little while by the looks of it so far, but it's not happening like it was with the other parts, so yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we might have to forward plan a little bit with some of our maneuvers, but this doesn't really have to do any fine-tuning. This just has to do the brute force maneuver of getting us there, really. So we need at least two. So we'll call it there, I think. I think that's a good spot to end the episode. The ship is up. It is functional. It doesn't have that assembled, but that's part of the next one. So for next time, we'll build the crew module first, and we'll bring some extra engineers on board to extend the centrifuge. Hopefully you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all again next time. Goodbye.